Hello, Richard Gene, the fishing machine. So, I made a video a while back, which you actually responded to, by the way. And I wanted to talk to you for a few minutes again as I drink my Get Well herbal tea and let these antibiotics sit in me because, as an old stubborn man and a redneck, I decided to wait until way after I should have to go to the doctor, and I'm suffering now. So, I'm at home, not at work. I'm in the process of making a crappie jig. I've been turning them out left and right. I had a 22-year absence from fly tying of any kind. I used to have a really massive setup way the hell back. I'm getting back into it, but it's primarily for jig fishing with a lot of 132nd, 124s. These ones in particular have the cutback sill hook, sickle style. My friend Michael Harriman with Juggernaut Custom Jig Heads, he makes all manner of jig heads, all the way from the most micro, like this is a size 6. I've got them all the way down to size 10 and 12 on regular ball heads from him. I've got a ton of them. Just pumping them out. Gill jigs, crappie jigs, all of them. So while I'm sitting here making this video, I just kind of wanted to talk your way for a couple minutes. And maybe elaborate on some stuff. So, Richard, I find you to be a really refreshing human being in today's society. I've got to tell you that up front. Because people in general have really become apathetic, have really become unfeeling and uncaring toward one another. And by your nature, I see, and it may just be me, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that you are a really sweethearted man. And I think that you are very family oriented, and I think that you have some very high end core Christian values in your life. And I'm pretty sure that I'm probably correct in that. And it shows. It really does. You, without a doubt, are really a beautiful human being, Richard. I gotta tell you that. You know, aside from your personality and your humor with the Elmo thing and all that, you really are a very just really cool individual. I've got to tell you, very refreshing in today's society. A lot of people just don't have that kind of thing that they can say about themselves, and you should be very proud of that. Really, you really should. That being said, I have been at various times in my life not a good person. I have seen two daughters get to their adulthood, and they came out fairly well adjusted, mostly due to their mom, who I have not been with for a long time. And, you know, they still accept me and claim me as their birth dad, and I'm very grateful for it, because I got to tell you, Richard, I've done a lot of things in my life I'm not proud of. I will tell you also that I am gaining ground at redeeming myself in some ways. I am not Christian. I am what would be in modern terminology termed as a old world Celtic pagan. But there are a lot of things that Christianity has that we as pagans hold just as close to ourselves, and we believe. So there's a lot of things that you exemplify that are really outstanding to me, and I got to tell you, as just another human being in general, I really supremely appreciate the way that you are, and I like the fact that you share your passion for fishing. It's awesome that you do. You know, I have my own channel, but no, by no means am I anywhere near what you are as far as, you know, what comes to YouTube. I don't have just fishing on mine. I have plenty of other things on mine, but I'm not really looking to get a lot of viewers. Honestly, I am just grateful that I get to do things that are involving freedom of speech and the pursuit of things in my life that I like. And I am blessed to be able to do so these days. I have had 5 heart attacks. I have suffered alcoholism and drug addiction for years. And, well, it didn't actually come out too bad. This is the first time I've ever done this, by the way, and it actually looks pretty cool. I've done everything except for meth and crack, and I've come back from it. Alcoholism, yeah, you name it. Now, have I stopped drinking? No. I like an occasional beer. I like an occasional Jack and Coke. I do not take it more than an occasional. So I self-monitor myself on a fairly exceptional level these days, and it has worked for me so far. And I look to your channel and what you do as a form of therapy and a form of learning too. I mean, I know a lot about fishing. I've been fishing since I was 5 years old, and I'm 48 now. But I tell you what, man, you just have this way of knowing certain things naturally, and I know a lot of that is repetition and time. And I love it. I love watching you, man. I love it when you greet your viewers, on the water. Like you had one guy in a fairly recent one that you get let on your boat from his bass boat, and you were doing the whole, fish when you can, whole phrase with him. I thought that was really super cool, dude. I mean, really, like, stupendously cool to me. So, I have this interest in getting on your boat and fishing with you. I'm no different than anybody else. I'm one in a million. I will admit that all day long. I'm no different than millions of other people in this country and in this world. But I tell you what, that's like that activity, being on the boat with you and doing that whole crappie thing with the Richard Gene himself. That's a very high thing on my bucket list. I really don't know how much time I have left. I'm sure I have a while. I've done a lot of damage to myself. Who's to say? Who's to know? Only God knows everything, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I believe in all power, and I'm pretty sure that I've been lucky so far in that I've been allowed to stay alive, and I'm pretty sure that that's because there's still something left for me in the world to do. Now, what is that I'm left to do? I have no idea. I really don't. I know I'm blessed to still be here, though. I do know that for a fact. But getting on your boat, dude, that would really, it would just be supremely awesome, honestly. I'd really love to do it. I don't expect that it's something that, would happen. Like I said, I'm just like anybody else in the world. I'd like for it to. Especially when you're hooking into white bass and little yellow bass and the crappie and everything else. I mean, that's my wheelhouse of fishing, man. That's my main prerogative when it comes to fishing. I go for all species, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've even got a ridiculous 9-foot super heavy Dobbin swim bait rod and reel for up to 2-pound baits, and I really don't throw those anymore because my shoulders are pretty much toast. Which is why I kind of stay within that micro ultralight to drop shot max. I really don't stray out of that too much anymore. I've hurt my shoulders way too bad. So I'm really in that vein of things, of the way that you think when it comes to fishing, and I'm really liking the way that came out. And I would love to. If the opportunity arose and it was something you would let me have the honor of doing, I would do it in a heartbeat. I'd pay for my own lodging, pay for my own food, pay for my own trip. I'd do everything on my end if it could happen. Not to say that would be the easiest thing in the world for me to do. I am a paycheck to paycheck person, but I would try to make it happen. I would certainly do that if I got the opportunity to do so, because you're a really good human. I can tell. I can tell you're a really good person, and you're a sweet, kind-hearted individual. I know everybody gets mad. Everybody's got emotion, but public eye or not, I have the feeling that you're just one of those people that's good-natured by just their nature in general. And I can tell, you've been through some stuff in your life. I can tell because of the way you maintain yourself and carry yourself in life. I know you've been through some stuff, but you don't let that temper you. You let that allow you to be the way that you want to be. That's awesome, man. I've seen the way you've been with your wife of over 30 years. That's phenomenal in these days. The way you've been with your offspring. I've seen, the couple, and I really think you're truly an amazing person, Richard. I really do. So, I just wanted to say that bit. I was tying a fly, and I just had kind of these things on my mind. I'm going to leave this fuzzy like this because it'll lean back, and instead of being, where it's chenille wrapped, it's actually flowing just like the tail. So I'm probably going to trim the tail maybe a little bit, but for the most part, it'll stay the way it is. Just kind of inspired. That's the first time I've actually spun any kind of feather at all. It was not a hackle meant for spinning, by the way. It was a full spine feather. So it was not easy. But anyway, I just want to say my piece, man. And if you respond, great. If not, hey, busy happens to everybody. I get it. God bless you, man. Very cool person. You really are. Good day to you, sir.